I never believed in ghost stories until that night in July. The rain was coming down in sheets when my car broke down just outside of Ravens Creek. I needed shelter, and the only option was the Garfunkel Hotel, a Victorian monstrosity that loomed against the storm clouds like something from a nightmare. The moment I pushed through those heavy oak doors, something felt wrong. The lobby was dimly lit, with chandelier bulbs flickering weakly above peeling wallpaper that curled like dying flowers. The air smelled of mildew and something else, something sickly sweet. The receptionist stood motionless behind the desk. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, and her eyes never seemed to blink as I approached. "I need a room for the night," I said, water dripping from my clothes onto the faded carpet. She smiled without showing her teeth. "Of course, sir. We have plenty of vacancies." Her voice had an odd echo, like she was speaking from the bottom of a well. Without asking for ID or payment, she handed me a rusted key with the number 3113 etched into it. "Not that room," came a whisper from behind me. I turned to see an elderly janitor shaking his head slightly before disappearing through a service door. "Is there something wrong with room 313? I asked the receptionist. Her smile didn't waver. "Not at all. It's one of our finest accommodations." She pointed toward the staircase. "Third floor, end of the hall." The staircase creaked with every step, and the hallway on the third floor seemed impossibly long. Water stains spread across the ceiling like dark continents on a map. Room 313 was at the very end, its brass numbers hanging upside down, the three dangling by a single screw. The door groaned as I pushed it open. The room was surprisingly well kept compared to the rest of the hotel, but ice cold. I set my bag down and tried the radiator. Nothing. The storm outside intensified, rain lashing against the windows like desperate fingers trying to get in. Around midnight, I woke to a scratching sound. At first, I thought it was tree branches against the window, but there was no tree outside. I'd noticed that earlier. The scratching was coming from inside the room, from the closet. As I watched, frozen in terror, the closet door began to inch open on its own. From the darkness within, I saw pale, milky eyes staring back at me. "You shouldn't be here," came a soft whisper. "This room is not for the living." I bolted from the bed and ran into the hallway, heart pounding. The corridor now seemed twisted and wrong, the doors arranged in impossible patterns. When I finally found the stairs and reached the lobby, it was deserted. "Hello?" I called out. "Is anyone here?" The janitor appeared, his face grave. "You were in 313, he said. It wasn't a question. "Something's in there," I gasped. "We need to call someone." "That room's been locked for 40 years, he said quietly. "Ever since the incident." "What incident? And what do you mean locked?" "The receptionist gave me the key." He looked confused. "What receptionist? I'm the only one who works nights here." He led me to a dusty office and pulled out an old newspaper. The headline read, "Tragedy at Garfunkel Hotel. Man found dead in room 313. My blood froze as I stared at the photo. It was my face looking back at me. "That's impossible," I whispered. "This is dated July 5th, 1985. The janitor nodded slowly. "Every year on this night, you check in. And every year, I try to warn you." I reached for the newspaper, but my hand passed right through it. Looking down, I saw my body growing transparent. Outside, the storm began to fade, and with it my existence, until next year when the rain would bring me back to room 313, where my story began and ended.